All right, let's prepare our notes for Cornell note form. And we are going to be on page 42 of our math textbook. You can title this Estimating Quotients Okay, what does that even mean? Estimating quotients. Estimating quotients. So we just got done multiplying decimals. Now we're going to be dividing decimals, and there's a few rules we have to follow in order to divide decimals. But we're going to start the very first lesson by estimating those decimals by rounding them to compatible numbers. So let's just kind of run through a few things, just to remind ourselves of a few key terms before we start. So we're talking about dividing. So let's say this is our division bracket. The number inside is called a dividend, right? Just going to remind ourselves that a dividend is the number inside the division problem. The number on the outside, what we're dividing by, is called the divisor. So what we're dividing is a dividend. What we're dividing by is called a divisor. And then the answer is a quotient. Okay, now you can see quotient in our title, right? Estimating quotients. So, a few rules when estimating quotients. Let's go ahead and put this in our column here. Rules to estimating quotients. Okay, rule number 1. Do not round. And you're thinking, Mrs. Nestor, you told us to round the decimals in multiplication. Like, what? You're telling us not to round now when estimating? Don't worry, it's going to get easier, I promise. Okay, rule number 2. Avoid at all cost. If you want your life to be easy, avoid changing the divisor. Okay, at all cost, avoid rounding or changing this number. Try to keep it the same all the time. And just worry about rounding, or sorry, I said do not round, changing the dividend, okay? And you're saying, okay, well, you're saying not to round, so what do we do? I don't understand. Well, I'm going to show you, okay? First of all, we need to also remember the term, find a different color. I'm going to put it in the column here. Compatible numbers. Compatible numbers. I did not give myself a big column. Compatible numbers. So, to estimate quotients of decimals, I do not suggest rounding, but I suggest changing to compatible numbers. These are numbers that are easy to divide mentally. It's so much easier if you know compatible numbers versus rounding. You know, if you come to a point where there's just no choice and you have to round both numbers, then of course do it. But at all costs, try not to round. Try to find that compatible number first. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I mean about estimating quotients. And we're talking about division here. So I'm just going to put a division at the top. We're not multiplying anymore, guys. Okay, we're dividing decimals. So for an example, say you have the number, let's see, we're looking at number 1 on page 42 under example. It's asking you to estimate 8 and 75/100 divided by 3. Okay. Well, I mean, I could maybe round this decimal, but honestly, what I want to do is find something that 3 can go into, a number that 3 can easily go into. Remember, because I want to try not to change my divisor. I want to keep the 3, which means I need to change 8 and 75/100 to a number that's easy to divide 3 into. So if you're like me, I think, okay, 875 in terms of money, like if this was money, I mean, that's close to $9, right? So does 3 easily divide into 9? It does, right? I changed it to a compatible number. It is very much like rounding. You're just finding a number that this divisor can easily divide into. And we know that 3 easily divides into 9, right? It goes in 3 times. So this was number 1, sorry. 875 divided by 3 is about, remember that about sign, 3. Okay, so let's go down and move to check your progress A. We have 49 and 3/10 divided by 7. So what I need to do is I need to change this number to be compatible with our divisor. Are you guys noticing that 7 can easily go into 49? So we can just drop the decimal. So we can make the division problem look like this. We can change 49 and 3/10 and we can round it to 49 because 7 is compatible with 49. It goes into 49 7 times. So 49 and 3/10 divided by 7 is about 7. Okay, let's go to B. We have, it says 25 divided by 98 and 1/10. Now, again, I want to avoid at all costs changing the divisor. I want to keep 25. So if I'm looking at 98 and 1/10, what is a number that 25 can easily divide into? Is your head screaming 100? Anybody screaming 100? 25 can easily divide into 100. So instead of just rounding this to 99, because we all know 25 does not go into 99, and it does not go into 98, but 25 definitely goes into 100. So that is a compatible number. It's a number that is easy to divide mentally. You want to try to do mental math here. We know 25 goes in 4 times into 100. Think of terms of quarters. How many quarters does it go into $1? 4. Okay, so let's say we move down to 2. And we have, it says estimate 32 divided by 3 and 9/10. Okay, so now you're thinking, okay, this one says estimate by rounding the divisors. You told me to ignore the divisors. I did. I totally did here. But at some point you're going to come across a problem where you're going to have to. You're going to have to change the divisor. I said try. Try to not round and try to not change. Avoid changing the divisor. But you're going to come across a problem that you're going to have to. So if you look here, 32 divided by 3 and 9/10, what in the world? Okay, well, I'm going to have to round or change that divisor. I can't divide 32 by 3.9 mentally, right? So what's a number I can change 3.9 to easily? You're right. I can just change it to 4. I'm going to round it up. And then 32 and 4, are they compatible? They are, right? So 32 divided by 4 is very compatible. It goes evenly by 8. So I did say avoid changing the divisor, but sometimes you can't, okay? More times you can, like up here, but sometimes you can't. All right, let's go down to check your progress, and we're going to do C. So we have 54 divided by 9 and 1600ths. Another divisor that I'm gonna have to change, right? Now if you look at this, oh my goodness, you can see that 54 is compatible with 9, right? If you look at a multiplication chart, you'll know that 9 goes into 54 6 times. So we can keep the 9. Let's just get rid of the decimal, okay? Let's make it easy. So we're gonna keep the 9, get rid of the decimal, and divide 54 by 9. And that, my friends, 54 and 9 are very compatible. Okay, 9 goes into 54 6 times. See how we're just trying to make it easy on ourselves. There's going to come to a point where you can't avoid some of these numbers. You're going to have to change them. All right, let's do one more. 10, or sorry, D. That does not look like a 10. It is 10 and 7500ths divided by 99. And you're like, oh my goodness, they are making it so difficult on me. But it really doesn't have to be, right? We can keep that 99. What's a number that's closest to 10 and 7500ths that can easily divide into 99? Are you guys yelling at the screen? 11, right? That's what it makes me think of, 11. Just round up that 10 and 7500ths to 11, and we got 99 divided by 11. Easy peasy, 9, right? So, when you are estimating quotients, which is any division problem, you definitely want to try to follow these rules. Try and try. And if you can't, then do your best to find compatible numbers, right? I'm just going to draw some stars all the way around compatible numbers because this is going to be your easiest, best bet to get through this practice page. Okay, so now you guys are going to go in. This is all the notes for today, right? You're like, thank you, Mrs. Nestor. I just wanted to introduce on how to estimate quotients by changing to compatible numbers. And now you guys are going to go in and do the Ed puzzle. All right, good job.